two of my favorite ones that I dealt with.
And that's very profound and very deep advice and everything. Tanya, share a little bit about your background and how you first got involved. Like I said, you've been involved in the music for 40-odd years.
God.
So tell folks when you first got involved, who's some of the people that you worked with? I know you mentioned, I think you mentioned Stevie and some of the other folks, but definitely share a little bit about your story and how you got involved into the arts there in Los Angeles. And I know you didn't start in Los Angeles. You actually started in another part of the country. So if you could share a little bit of that story with us again, I'd definitely appreciate that.
Absolutely, Mark. Oh, my gosh. I'm thinking, I blinked, and the time went so fast. That's why I'm laughing. It's like 44 years later. Okay, so we moved here in 1973, okay? And I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, okay? We moved here as a family. So I moved here my sophomore year of high school. So right when I graduated from high school, I began to search. And back in that time, it was very easy in the 70s because if you really had a talent or connected with certain people and hang with a certain crowd, here in California in the 70s was the time. And when I say that, all of us look back, all of us when we talk now, we feel like we're veterans. But it's really true. And so what I did was, at 19, I went to an audition. Very simple. I was working in the bank as a new accounts representative. One of my girlfriends was there, too. Long story short, she was dating the drummer from Earth, Wind & Fire, Fred White. Earth, Wind & Fire. We went, and she introduced me. I met him at the Forum Club, and then she told me I sang, and I sang for him. He says, oh, my God, I need to come and do an audition. I did. I went and auditioned for him, and next thing I know, they introduced me to Stevie Wonder, and there I go, and my career took off. That's a true story. So for me, it was all connection and God's plan, I believe. From that, I became a very big, background studio singer, and I did that for 7 to 8 years. So I did George Benson, Stevie Wonder, Chuck Brown, the Soul Searchers, a group called Ambiance out of New York, a host of people. Chuck Brown, the Soul Searchers was my favorite, and Roy Ayers was my absolute favorite. Stevie Wonder was very, very, very meticulous and hard to work with. He's brilliant. He is everything everyone says. You spend 10 and 20 hours in the studio. My son has a story he tells his wife and his kids today. He played air hockey with Stevie Wonder. It's a wonderful memory for us. So, it was very good time. Now, I will say this. Going forward, what happened with me was that I didn't want to just be an entertainer and sing, dance, and acting. I really wanted to know the background of entertainment, too. As I progressed and the years went by, I got into the production side, and that's how I became a producer and director. And then I started directing a lot of celebrity people and traveling. Todd Bridges' mother, Debbie Bridges, she's amazing. Nia Long's mother, directed her. I directed a young lady named Monique Powers, who is Dr. Phil's makeup artist. All these people that wanted to do their own particular projects, I got hired for that. Then I became known as a producer and a director. And then I went out of state, and I started working with some of Tyler Perry's people in the background, and that took off. And, just one thing, it's just one connection to the next. What I will say, in 44 years, never give up. You will have your highs, your lows, your ups and downs. But what I did feel, Mark, is that you have to have drive and tenacity, and these young people sound like they do. You just keep going. Every person you meet will connect you to something else. That's what I've learned in this business. And the more you give and the more heart and soul you show, it'll just take off. That's anything in life. In entertainment, it breeds your tenacity. If you breathe that, it's going to go. And so after I did all of the producing and directing, 20 years now, I opened my own entertainment company, and then I started managing artists. I started directing them, pretty much training them, just a host of things, doing their albums. I, worked in ministry work with the church and, did the plays, was a vocal coach for their project. Child, it's endless. I've done a little bit of everything. But what I will say is that I have a love for the business, and I was born to do it, and so it fuels me. It's simple as that. So that's pretty much what we're doing now. Now I get to work and earn my own hours and that kind of thing, and just bless all the young people. That's what I'm doing now. So.
That sounds like you're doing some amazing work. And I'm thinking, and this goes for everybody, Jay, Derek, everybody else on the call, I'm thinking that this is going to open up a lot of more opportunities in terms of like what we can do, because one of the complaints, as we've all known, that we've heard from the African American community as well as all the minority communities, is that there were too many, there were not enough gatekeepers that looked like us that were actually making the decisions. But if it's all being done through internet tools and through YouTube and things like that, I'm thinking that the sky's the limit right now, because you really don't have as much of the industry blocks as you used to have. I mean, they still exist maybe in the big offices and things of that nature, but with everybody doing stuff from at home, I'm thinking that this is going to really open up a gate flood of some very powerful creative things. I mean, I imagine that gate flood will also, since we're going to have a million people doing a million different projects and everything, there's going to be some garbage in that gate, but there's going to be some serious jewels in there as well, and probably more jewels than the garbage. But I'm just thinking it's going to open up a lot of greater opportunities to get some stuff out there.
Let me put a little bug in your ear while what you're saying is so profound. Let me say this. After this is all done, I'm going to try to say this without giving too much information out. There is a very major push going on here, okay? I will tell you there are some powerful black people that are going to be looking for projects here. And you will be amazed at the budget they've been given. Now, they're going to advertise to do it. But listen to me, you guys. If you stay connected online and follow what's going on, you will be able to get your product in, whatever it is, whether it's a book, you're singing, whatever, they're going to be lucky. I will say this. They are some powerful people. Babyface's wife, I will say her name, she is amazing. You'd be amazed what she's doing. They are going to be looking for entrepreneurial black people, especially, to come in and do things in the business. They're going to be looking for no names and that and the like. It's coming, you guys. I just think this is an attack on the world right now. It hit at a very interesting time because it was already in the works, is why I'm bringing it up. But you just wait till 2021 comes. If we just hold out, it's coming, and we're all going to be able to be a part of it. So I just want to share that. It is definitely coming.
Well,
it's already.
I appreciate you sharing that, and I was already getting that sense because I know that there are some power players in both the entertainment world as well as in the sports world, and some of those power players are sitting on some opportunities right now, and probably some cash flow until they can get their cash flow flowing again, since we don't really have any sports going on at the moment either. So I'm imagining that some of those power players you're talking about are also going to be out of the athletic world as well.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things I will say to you is this. There are retired athletic players right now, sorry, I can't say a name, that are already working behind the scenes that are doing black people meet type events that they want to connect with black men. And entrepreneurs train up the black men, go into the jails and pull them out and help rehabilitate them. There is one gentleman that's retired black ball player that's doing that. It's going to change, you guys. We just have to stay prayed up and watchful, but it's going to turn around. And there's going to be a lot of great things coming out. A lot, yeah. Especially from California and Atlanta, for sure, Atlanta. You guys don't understand this. Atlanta is being called the new A-Wood. I don't know if you've been hearing that term. It's for a reason, because there is so much talent in Atlanta. Tyler Perry has put them on the map, you guys, and he's going to do amazing things. But if we just start supporting each other and looking at his shows and that thing, we can do great things. It's going to be a wonderful time coming up. It will. Mm-hmm.
No, yeah. I agree, and I definitely knew Atlanta was a player. I know that New York in that area is still going to be a player. Definitely California is a player. Derek, I have a funny feeling because that contrary to what people may have said, and I know that we had certain people that put some things in place that hurt our industry, but I do think that North Carolina, South Carolina is also going to be a major player with some of what Tanya's talking about, because we've got some people in that same category that have been playing around the country and around the world. And I know that I've been in touch with some. I know you've been in touch with many more. So I think that we're going to wind up being a player as well, because I think that some of that things that hurt us in terms of the way they hurt the film industry in the past, this new technology is going to change that game, and we're going to see some players even coming out of here. At least that's my vibe. I don't know whether that's your vibe, Derek.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was in California 4 weeks ago. I was in L.A. and I was in San Francisco, and my clients in San Francisco were not able to fly to North Carolina because the state has banned them from attending North Carolina because of the HB1.
Right.
So there is still some regressive stuff going on in North Carolina, and we're not on the level yet of where California is as far as progression. But because of the internet, everyone has access. It's equal playing field right now.
Yeah, and that's what I've noticed, because I've noticed that I did not realize that you had gone out there recently, but I know that Mike Anderson, who is does some purpose-driven kind of stuff, and he was a person that had gone through the prison system, had been convicted of a major crime, and has been doing a lot of stuff around the country, be it St. Louis, be it California or whatever. But I know he's been out there, L.A. a number of times, and he's a good friend of mine, and I know he's a friend of yours as well, Derek, and LaWanda, his wife. So I did know that there were some of our players that have been making that trip out to California, including some that are based in California now, because Ronnie Warner, who I'm hoping to get on this show, who did the film this Christmas, is from a little town called Hillsborough. So definitely I know that there are some players that are out there in California that still have North Carolina connections.
And the wonderful thing about it is that it's so funny. They will look online. They'll find someone like him, and they'll pull him, and they'll bring him here. It's awesome. It's like you don't have to be here to make it. They'll pull you from wherever. They'll pull you online and pull you out of state and just bring you to the state that has the budget and the money to do it. That's just how it goes, and it's a wonderful thing. So what he's saying is absolutely true. It doesn't matter what state you're in. They will see. If they like the work, they're going to take it, but they'll just bring you here to this town to do it. That's what we're finding, and it's a wonderful thing. Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Jay, what has been some of your experiences in terms of reaching out into the entertainment community, whether it's L.A., whether it's Atlanta, or whether it's whatever? I think you said you had done some work in Atlanta, but what has been your experience so far in reaching out into that wider audience?
Well, Minnesota, we're still pretty much new as far as the entertainment company. We've gotten out there, but not to the extent as the rest of you guys. We're still babies in this process. So I'm just sitting back listening to this and being blown away. But we've touched Atlanta. We've done a couple of things in Atlanta. Back, of course, I was born in Philly, so we've knocked on a couple of doors in Philadelphia. So we're just driving, like she said earlier, we're just pushing forward and got our ears to the grind, and we're just trying to get to the level that I'm listening to right now.
Well, like I said, I was really impressed, by the way. I just want to let folks know, if you have not had a chance, and tell people the website that you created, the Hype channel and everything. When I went to the YouTube, it was you had a gentleman, I think it was you and your co-host, the young lady that were on there. Y'all had like a little quiz game that was going on. One of the questions was real basic, like what was the number between 16 and 18, and I thought both of them were going to jump on it, but the one guest was, your co-host was too busy laughing that the guest actually kind of stuck in there and got the correct answer, but then y'all also have a conversation about who cheats more, man or women, and also dealing with like abuse things and some more profound kind of issues as well. And then I don't remember right off the top of my head the gentleman that you were if you had as the interview, but he was a musician of some sort, because you did have him sing at the end as well. So just tell people a little bit about that, and also the movie that you've got coming up, and direct people to those particular websites.
Okay, well, the Hype show is pretty much a regular talk show, but I wanted to keep the boredom down. So what we decided to do is have a competition between my co-host and whoever our guest is, and we have simple questions from, like you said, who drove speed races, what was the number of speed races car? And we have questions like, just to break the monotony, if you were on a boat and the boat was sinking, who would you save, your wife or your mother? Just to make people think a little bit. And as far as the movie, we have one now where it's called Mama's Baby Boy. It's about a 40-year-old. It's kind of like a gospel comedy. It's about a 40-year-old successful black businessman who all the women love him and all his partners admire him. But the only thing is, he still lives at home with his mom. But when you go through the movie, you find out the reason that he's living at home with his mother is because he's kind of sick. But she doesn't want to let go, so she still treats him like a child. So the movie is about the conflict between, the love that they have with one another, but how the conflict is she doesn't want to let him go. And the website for us is BDD Entertainment.